Hello, hello, hello. How are you today? As for me, I'm doing just fine. Do you know what time it is? It's learning time. And today we're learning about accepting ourselves. Do you know what it means to accept ourselves? Well, let me tell you, it's something really important. One definition of accepting ourselves is knowing that there are some things that we're good at and there are sometimes things that we're not good at, and to accept both. Have you ever looked at somebody and wondered if you could be like them or as good as them at what they do? Well, let me tell you, we all feel that way sometimes. We just have to remember that we're good at some things and we're not so good at other things. And it's okay to not be good at things. In today's story, we're going to see tiny houses good at some things and not so good at other things. Our book today is called The Big Adventures of Tiny House. If you've got the book, you can read along as I read. So let's get to it. Come on.
The Big Adventures of Tiny House by Susan Schaefer Bernardo, illustrated by Courtney Fletcher. Once there was a farmhouse in a field of hay. But while it lay sleeping, the acres gave way to a bustling city whose bright, shiny towers edged out the farmhouse, the fields, and flowers. Clever hands salvaged the windows and doors, recycled the wood from the walls and the floors. Hoping to find a more neighborly view, they picked up those pieces and built something new. With some nails and a saw and a hammer with a claw, they made a sweet little house, cozy and snug, with a tiny front porch and a red braided rug, a tuck-away table, and a neat little nook for writing a letter or reading a book. A loft made for sleeping and happy stargazing, and dreams of a life that was big and amazing. Cabinets crafted from fallen down trees, and best of all, wheels, so he could go where he pleased. Though they didn't have room for all of their old stuff, what they decided to keep was exactly enough. Tiny liked his new shape and his rolling foundation, but how would he get to his next destination? Here came Big Truck, sturdy and strong, with a hitch at her back to tow Tiny along. With a tug and a thump and a boppity bump, away we go. That little house on the road caught everyone's eye. Children waved and blew kisses when Tiny rolled by. To see the world whizzing past gave Tiny a thrill, till they passed Missy Mansion, where she sat on her hill. She took a long look, and with scorn on her face said, "You can't be a home if you don't stay in one place." Tiny was troubled. Could that big house be right? Was he really a home if he wasn't stuck tight? But he didn't have time to worry too long. Big Truck was rolling and singing her song. The sun's shining bright, and we've got a green light. Let's drive. Driving's just what they did, heading west with the sun, looking for landmarks and friendship and fun. In St. Louis, they stopped near a remarkable arch. In New Orleans, they joined a parade on the march. They turned left at Texas and placed a big order for tacos at a stand just south of the border. With a rattle and a pop, truck rumbled to a stop. Oh no! My tank's almost empty and my tires are flat, but I know just the place to fix all of that. No need to fret or fall into frustration. We can find what we need at Granny's gas station. Granny filled them up with tender loving care, water in the radiator, tires pumped with air. While Big Truck enjoyed the rest she was taking, Tiny was tickled by the friend he was making. She was a silvery sort, about the same size as Tiny, who said with a drawl, "Y'all call me Shiny." How fun, what joy, a new traveling companion, and they rolled down the road to the famous Grand Canyon. When they drove through the desert, Tiny got practice, swerving to miss the sharp spines of the cactus. Winding up through the Rockies, they got covered in snow, so they headed back down to the valley below. They stopped at a bridge and looked down in wonder, as a strange-looking ship tooted right under. Toot toot, splish splash. "I am Waverly," he said. "I'm a house on a boat. I live in the water. See, I can float." "A home on the water? Can such a thing be?" "Of course," said the houseboat. "Why, look at me. I've got walls and a roof to keep the rain out. I'm a wonderful home, even floating about." Life along the road was losing its luster when they heard the horn of a schoolie named Buster. Beep, beep, honk, honk. "If you're looking for adventure, just follow me to the axle hoppin', wheel stompin', tiny house jamboree. We'll raise the roof with our ruckus. All of our kin will be coming. There'll be ringing and singing and dancing and drumming." "We're a congenial crowd. We're lively and loud. Let's jam." Tiny was proud of his grand celebration, and his shingles fair shimmered with joy and elation. They stayed up till midnight, swapping songs and tall tales of the adventures they'd had on their tiny house trails. Tiny talked of his plans to visit the stars, how he would hitch to a rocket and zoom straight to Mars. When the songs had been sung and the stories all told, the jamboree ended, and they got back on the road. North to Wyoming and down to the Keys, then west to the redwoods to see really big trees. Tiny loved the surprises around every turn, but after thousands of miles he started to yearn for a patch of green grass where he could sit in the shade and spend some time chatting with his friends he had made. He thought about Missy up high on her hill. He hoped she was happy sitting there still. As for him, he was looking for a new way of living, a community founded on sharing and giving. He found a good spot under an old apple tree and settled down with his friends in sweet harmony. With some nails and a saw and a hammer with a claw, they grew something new. A tiny house village full of chatter and charm, with a view of the river and an organic farm. He could be a home anywhere, because home wasn't a place. Home was a feeling, a smile on your face. Home was friendship and singing and a full happy heart. It was sharing good meals and where you hang up your heart. Whether you're dropping your anchor or decided to roam, what called to your heart could still be called home. And when Tiny woke up with the traveling itch, Big Truck was ready to hook up the hitch. The end.
see how Tiny was wondering if he was really a house because he couldn't stay in one place like Missy Mansion said? After he thought about it, he realized there were other things that he was good at that made him special. He realized he may not be Missy Mansion, but he had his own special qualities. That's just like you. You may not be like other people, but you have your own special way of looking at the world. You just have to figure out what they are and be uniquely you. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I put a link down in the description if you'd like to get a copy of this book for yourself. And I hope next time if you ever question yourself and you wonder if you're going to be as good as somebody else, that you think of Tiny House and realize, just like him, you have your own special way of dealing with the world. Don't forget to come see me tomorrow and we'll learn something new. Bye.